There is a highly specific, agonizing weight that settles in right as your life starts moving in the right direction. You look around and see real fruit. Doors open, your spiritual depth expands, and people begin responding to your transformation. The external evidence clearly indicates you are growing. But then you look inward and see the same flaws. You observe the avoidance patterns, the messy reactions, and the half-finished, broken parts of your character that are still trying to figure things out. This creates an exhausting psychological friction. A quiet voice whispers that if you still hold these deep, obvious inconsistencies, your growth must be a facade. You start believing you are secretly faking the very depth God is producing in you. It makes you wonder if God's calling is a clerical error. You operate under the constant terror that your lack of perfection will soon expose you, and He will realize He selected the wrong person. This entire spiral stems from how human beings process merit. We operate on the assumption that a significant divine assignment requires a polished, fully healed, and flawlessly disciplined candidate. Driven by that logic, we put ourselves in an absolute pressure cooker. We scramble to get it together, frantically trying to fix every broken piece of our lives to avoid losing the assignment entirely. Yet the historical text contradicts this immediately. The most critical tasks in Scripture were repeatedly handed to figures who were actively doubting, aggressively messing up, and painfully learning obedience on the job. This pattern suggests that when God selects someone, He is seeing a version of them that isn't present in the current moment. He is responding to a reality that hasn't happened yet. To understand how He can call the wrong person and be right every time, we have to look at how He perceives the timeline of a human life. This graphic illustrates how humans experience a timeline. We are trapped at a single, isolated point called the present, surrounded by the heavy fog of the unknown. We can only measure ourselves by our immediate mistakes and our incredibly slow progress. But God does not operate inside that sequence. He steps outside the timeline entirely, viewing the absolute beginning and the definitive end simultaneously. This is the concept of foreknowledge. He isn't making educated guesses about your trajectory. He is observing the final outcome as a fixed reality. Naturally, this introduces a massive intellectual paradox. If every choice you are ever going to make is already known, do you actually possess free will? Think of it like sitting down to watch a recorded football game. You already know the final score, but your knowledge of the outcome doesn't reach into the television screen and alter the player's decisions. They still choose their routes, react to the defense, and play the game independently. Divine foreknowledge works exactly the same way. His awareness of your path is pure observation, not coercion. He sees the route you will choose without ever forcing your steps. So, how does this non-linear awareness dictate who gets called to a purpose? This flowchart visualizes a highly specific sequence, laid out in Romans 8:29. The awareness comes first, and the selection second. Long before placing a calling on your life, God scanned down the timeline, observing the precise posture your heart would eventually take. He saw the future version of you surrendering. He looked right past the trauma and confusion of your present moment. Inside the wounded you, He saw the worshiper. And inside the child breaking under pressure, He saw the cycle breaker. Because He witnessed that eventual, freely spoken yes, He marked you. He started developing you through the fire of your current trials, preparing you for an assignment you didn't even know existed. You were not chosen because you forced your way in or earned it through flawless behavior. You were chosen because God already viewed the final frame of your story, and He saw Himself in it. When you apply that non-linear reality to your feelings of inadequacy, the entire picture shifts. Your current inconsistencies serve a specific function. They create the necessary friction that forces you to stop relying on your own strength and start depending on His. This framework strips away the cold performance test we often mistake for faith. It leaves behind a story where the Creator willingly steps down into our mess to close a gap we could never cross. In standard human relationships, failure breaks the contract. But here, every time you wander or break, It simply becomes the precise location where mercy makes its entrance. The pressure you feel right now is entirely self-imposed. God is not asking you to frantically perform at a higher level in your own strength just to maintain your place. He is simply asking you to stay close so he can teach you how to carry what he already knew you would accept.